team. So today I wanted to talk to people who are wanting more financial freedom, but not quite feeling like a burning passion and, maybe feeling a little bit neutral, a little bit numb, a little bit kind of like, what's my thing? I'm not really sure. I kind of want to earn a bit more money, but I'm not feeling super passionate about anything. And so there's a few things going on here. I know that, this question came up in a practitioner group that I'm a part of a couple of weeks ago, and there was a whole thread of people saying, oh, I feel similar, I've felt the same, I've kind of felt numb or neutral, or, like, oh yeah, I don't really care that much about, I'm kind of happy where I am. I'm feeling kind of comfortable. I don't feel any kind of burning passion to change anything, but I want to earn some more money, but I'm not, like, I don't really care that much about it and not really that much to make a big difference. So if that speaks to you, then this video might help. So I'm going to come across to my screen here. So the question was around this of, I really want to create some more financial freedom, but not at the cost of everything else. That was the kind of languaging. And I think there's a lot of people that feel that way. I've certainly felt that way when I was kind of starting out with my coaching and my business journey. Is like, hey, I really care about my freedom, my time freedom. I care about being able to do what I want to do. I don't want to kind of be chained to a desk, I guess, all day long. And so what this immediately shows up for me, this kind of languaging, I want some more financial freedom. I want to earn some more money, but I don't want it to come at the cost of everything else. So as a coach, my mind immediately goes to, well, what is financial freedom? What does that actually mean to you? Like, what are the specifics of that? And what is this everything else that you think you need to give up, in order to have this financial freedom? So I've got here present state to desired state, which is a kind of basic, this is the NLP formula. I want to move from my present state where I, maybe don't have as much money as I want, and I want to move to a desired state where I do have more money. But right now, I currently have some situations, some things that I don't want to give up in order to get there. And so this is showing that there is a kind of classic unconscious bias, and also what we call in NLP a complex equivalence. So the complex equivalence means that there's some kind of unconscious wiring that says, in order to have money, I have to sacrifice something. And so this person called it everything else. And so I would be curious then, what is this everything else? What specifically do you think you have to give up in order to have financial freedom? Maybe it's time freedom. There's a lot of people that have a quadrant or a complex equivalence between time and money, right? That I feel like I want to have more money, but I need to give up my time in order to get there. Now, that's not true, but at a certain level, then there is an element of dedication and focus and creation of systems that needs to happen in order to create more money. Like, that's just a fact. And so there's a whole bunch of limiting beliefs that are kind of around this, that can be causing this kind of sense of numbness or stuckness, or I don't really know what I want to do. Because what happens is there's a part of your conscious mind that wants this, like, I want more money. I want to make an impact in the world. I want to make a difference. I want to do these things. I want to get out there as a coach and grow my business and be more successful and have a bigger impact. But so that's your conscious desire. And then the unconscious desire is pulling you back the other way. It's going, hang on a minute. I don't want to give up this. I don't want to give up the everything else. I don't want to give up my time freedom or my, relationship or whatever that is, whatever the kind of perceived fear is. There is a perceived fear that in order to make more money, there has to be some kind of sacrifice. right? Or something else that you lose. In order to get more money, there's something else that you have to lose. And so that's not necessarily true, right? There may be things that you need to be more disciplined about, or there may be some different things that, that need to shift. And everybody's situation is different, of course. But what I'm curious about, and what a great coach would do in this situation, is really explore what are the specifics of the fears that you think that you would need to give up in order to have this level of financial freedom, right? The devil is in the details here. What does this financial freedom look like? What do you actually want? What do you actually want? What is the kind of lifestyle that you want? What is the kind of impact that you want to make? What is the kind of change that you want to make in the world? What is the kind of life that you want to live? And what are the beliefs that you believe that you would have to sacrifice or change in order to get that? Because most of the time, 99% of the time, a lot of those beliefs are false. A lot of those beliefs are limiting you and preventing you from actually then seeing a pathway and the possibilities and the opportunities to have that level of financial freedom and have all of the love and time and relationships and impact and whatever else is important to you, right? So the other piece was around, the sense in the question was, oh, I'm feeling quite neutral about it. And a lot of people kind of agreed in the thread. And so the challenge that I would bring up is around, or the question, the inquiry that I would open up for anyone who's feeling this way, who's like, yeah, I want to grow, I want to get more money, I want to grow my business, but I'm kind of just like not super passionate about it. I'm not feeling super inspired, or I'm just kind of like floating around and kind of happy and doing my thing. So I would then, drawing on this desire and intentionality kind of framework, look at, if we've got, really sad, really upset over here, let's say, right? Let's do him in red, right? If we've got really sad and upset over here, and like super, super happy, overjoyed over on the other end of the spectrum, it's like, life is super depressing and I don't have anything that I want on one end, and oh my God, this is amazing on the other end. When we think about desire and intention, a lot of people who kind of say, oh, I'm just kind of feeling neutral, are kind of in this kind of comfort zone in the middle. And so what I would invite to explore is this element of, are you actually feeling neutral about it? Are you like really genuinely feeling neutral of like, hey, I really love my life, I'm feeling really neutral about this? Or is there an element of numbness or frustration or sadness or desire that is just not being explored, that is kind of in the, out in the wings here? Because if there's all this, there's a lot of unconsciousness here. There's a lot of, in this question, there's a lot of unconsciousness around what are the specifics of the life that you really want to live? What are the specifics of this? What are the details of this, of the actual life that you want to live? And exploring, right, all of coaching and all of this work, this personal growth work that we get to do, all like the entire purpose of it is to bring consciousness into places that are unconscious, is to bring consciousness, to bring our awareness into the places where there is unconsciousness. And so if there is this complex equivalence that says that if I have this greater level of financial freedom, I have to give up everything else, then it's creating this barrier or this block that prevents you from getting really specific in the detail about what do you actually want? What kind of life do you want to live? Not just what your mom or dad wants for you, not what your past business coach has sold you on the idea of, not what, your aunt or uncle or your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or girlfriend or children want. Like, what do you want for your life? And just really giving yourself permission to ask that question. Because when you ask that question, you start to get specific about the details of what you really want, you start to expand your awareness, right? And you move that unconsciousness and you start to get specific about, what do I actually want, right? What do I actually want? And so then your horizons of possibility start to broaden, right? And these clouds start to clear. But in order to get clear on what you really do want, you also need to get really clear on what you don't want. What are the things that you really are sick of? What are you sick of putting up with? What are you over? What have you had enough of? And the more that we can get clarity on all of these things and be okay with that, be okay with looking at the sadness and the awfulness and the pain and the frustration, and also look at all of the joy and all of the possibility and all of the excitement and all of the dreams and goals that you have, the more that we start to clear the clouds of numbness and really look at what are the things that I'm really sick of in this current reality, and what are the things that I really want to make a change to. Because the more that you can drive up both the specifics and the emotion about the things that you're sick of and that you're done with, and also the things that you really want, when you drive up your specifics and your emotion around those, it starts to get really like, ooh, oh, now you've got a fire in your belly. Now you've got to actually do something about it, because you've got a really strong pain driver of like, I don't want that. And you've got a really strong pleasure driver of, oh my God, I really want this life. I really want this life where I can go on holidays every quarter. I really want this life where I'm impacting thousands of people. Or I really want this life where I can buy a home for myself and create safety for my family and my children. Whatever it is, like the specifics are going to be different for every single person. But allowing yourself the possibility, right? Allowing yourself the possibility of looking into the places where your unconsciousness lives and really exploring what are the greatest dreams and possibilities and inspiration that is calling you forward. If you were to allow yourself the possibility of dreaming, what would that magic wand outcome look like? And what are the things that, if you're really honest with yourself, what are the things that frustrate you? What are the things that are on a negative trajectory, that are on a negative path, that if they kept going for the next 18 months or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, if you kept going on that track, where would you end up? Right? It's about getting really, really honest with yourself about the things that are working and not working, because even if they're just a tiny bit working or not working, then over time that will continue to accelerate in that particular direction, right? If we look at this moment now and the creation over time, if you're on that negative pathway, that's an accelerating negative pathway. It's going to continue to go down, right? If you're on this neutral pathway, that's not actually neutral. It's not actually neutral. The truth is, if you're not growing, right? If you're not growing, let's change the color. If you're not growing, you're dying, right? There is a natural entropy. So if you're not actively growing, then you are on a negative entropic pathway, right? And so we want to be actively looking to grow. We want to be actively looking to expand our possibilities and move into our greatest potential. And so neutrality, right? Neutrality actually is being okay with all of those things, right? I'm okay with the greatest despair and I'm okay with the greatest possibility. If you're not okay and you haven't looked into the greatest despair and you haven't really looked into and explored the greatest possibility, you're not in neutral. You're in a kind of numbness of the comfort zone of wherever you're at, right? So I would encourage you, if you want to improve your motivation, to look into those places that are frustrating, to look into those places that and be honest with yourself about being on, whatever pathway you're on. Because ultimately, the choice to make a different path, right? The choice whether you're on this path or this path is this moment now. The choice of whether you make a change is in this moment right now. So in the now moment, all of the lines are together. But if you keep going on that particular pathway, over time, the pathways start to separate. And then the gap between your greatest possibility and your greatest despair is a really big gap. But if you come back to this moment now, then it's just one decision. It's just one choice. It's just making that decision to live your best life, to choose what is the next right thing for you, and back yourself and be honest with yourself about what you really want. Because we only have one life in this body that we remember, right? We only have one life in this body. And God, why don't we make it count? Why don't we make it count instead of sitting in numbness or this kind of, oh yeah, I'm just going to live my life. My passion is to help activate your passion, right? And if you want to sit in numbness or neutrality, all power to you. If you're genuinely happy there, I am so give you all my blessings, and this is not the right video for you, right? But if you do genuinely want to make a change and you want to amp up your power and your purpose and your passion, consider this and look into those places. Do some journaling, explore. What are the things that aren't working for you? Be honest with yourself. And what are the things that you really want? Be honest with yourself about that too. Because when you can be truly honest with yourself, then you can start to explore the emotions at either end of the scale, right? You can really explore the options at either end of the scale. If you haven't fully explored all of your options, then you're making an unconscious choice. If you've explored all of your options, then you go, okay, I'm okay with that. If I had to live through, some kind of thing that I would really hate to live through, okay, I can deal with all the emotions and the beliefs and thoughts around that. Okay, I could be okay with that. And what would be the possibility of the greatest success and the greatest impact and this is the interesting thing, right? All of the positive things that would happen with that and all of the challenges that would happen with that. Am I okay with that? Am I okay with the idea that if I had a greater impact, that some people would really love what I do and some people would really hate it? Am I okay with that? Because that's then true neutrality, right? Can I be okay with the fact that I might be really sad with this bit, but I get the comfort of not having to do anything about it? I just get to kind of float along in life, and maybe things aren't the way I want to be, but I don't have to put in any effort to change it. So at both ends of the scale, there is positive and negative. At both ends of the scale, there is positive and negative. And so true neutrality is being okay with all of it. I'm okay with the greatest despair, and I'm okay with the greatest possibility. And then from that place, you can make a choice about what your intention is. And then you can make a choice about what the next right action is to take to move you onto that line that is the right line for you. So, I hope that has been of service. Let me know in the comments below, what is the key piece that you took out of this? What's the piece what did you love? What did you learn? What is, what's inspiring for you around this? What are the pieces that really stood out? Did it activate something? Did it trigger something? Did it open up some emotion? Let me know in the comments below, because it's really about, doing this kind of work, whether it's running a business, starting a business, creating your own entrepreneurial journey, or starting a coaching business is one of the greatest personal development journeys that you can ever go on. It's going to activate all of your joy and all of your fears and all of your limiting bullshit is going to come up and like one after the other kind of slap you in the face to deal with. And so it's not for the faint-hearted. It's not for someone who just wants to dabble. If you really want to have success with this, you've got to be willing to go all in, right? You've got to be willing to go all in on this journey. And that doesn't mean you have to do it all at once. It doesn't mean you have to do it all by yourself. It doesn't mean that you have to give up all of the other things that are important to you. That's not the case at all. But what you do need to be willing to do if you want to have success in this industry is you need to be consistently willing to look at your own stuff, your own inner blocks, your own limitations, and really be honest with yourself about that and either get some help or do some inner work to work through that, and to be consistently taking action to move you towards where you want to go. And the first step to doing that is clarifying what it is that you actually want, right? And there's this really great quote that Dr. John DeMartini says is like, you don't need to know all of the things about what you want, but start with what you know and let what you know grow, right? So I'm thinking about if you're going on a journey towards a mountaintop and that mountaintop is kind of shrouded in mist or clouds. And so you're taking that journey. And so as you're going closer and closer to the peak of the mountain, taking that next step, refueling yourself, resting along the way, taking the next step and the next step and the next step and continuing to reorient yourself towards the peak of that mountain. If you continue to reorient yourself towards the peak of that mountain, the closer you get, the clearer it becomes. So it might not be totally clear what your ultimate outcome is yet, but you do know some things. You do know some things, and what you know now is enough. It is enough to take the next step, and it is enough to be brave and to be bold and to go into that next step, to move towards what you really want, right? We are living in a time where your choices fucking matter. Your choices really matter. And so there is no place for apathy. I believe, that's my opinion, right? I believe there is no place for apathy in this world if you want to make a difference, right? You got to choose. Are you going to commit to lean into this and make that difference and bring your soul's calling through? Or are you not? Either choice is okay. That's cool. Do what feels right for you. Right? But for those who really want to make a difference, it is a journey of grit and resilience and iteration and moving towards that. And the rewards are so fucking worth it. Are so fucking worth it. It's worth putting that effort in. It's worth making the difference. It's like beyond your wildest dreams worth it. So I think that's the transmission for today. I hope it served you. I hope it's put a fire in your belly to explore what it is that you really want. And it's not about doing what the marketing people say or doing what anybody else says. It's just about being honest with yourself. And if being honest with yourself, if what you really want is a couple of clients and a small 6-figure business, great. And if you want thousands of clients and $1 million business, great. Right? If you want to work 1 day a week, great. If you want to work, 6 days a week, great. Whatever's right for you. It's like, do what feels right for you, but be honest with yourself about what you really want, because that's the key to your own happiness. That's the key to your happiness. So I hope this has served you. Got a bit passionate. Let me know in the comments what you took from this and what was useful or valuable from this. And if you want to be a part of a team that is moving towards their best life and becoming the best possible coach that you can be, then let me know and we can have a chat about my Super Coach Academy and if it might be right for you. Hope that's helped. I'll see you guys later. Bye.